Welcome to AGAM's lecture series, a series of lectures designed to bring learning to the comfort of your home. We are continuing our discussion of the subject General Laboratory Techniques, coded GLT. And today we are looking at part 9 of that lecture. And the topic for discussion today is collection, handling, and preservation of specimens. Collection, handling, and preservation of specimen. Biology deals with a lot of what? Specimen. And this specimen, most of the times, you don't collect it just as you want to have the lectures. You have collected it previously, and oftentimes you store it in the laboratory so that when the need arises, you make use of them. So we're going to look at how do we collect this specimen, how do we handle this specimen, how do we preserve them for future use. Now, entomology is the study of insects and arthropods. Know that the study of insects and arthropods is called what? Entomology. So collecting, handling, and preserving insects is a branch of what? Entomology. Now, what are the collecting materials that we have? What are the materials used for collecting insects? Sweep net. This is a net hang with a ring and a long stick or a long iron with which you hold them. You use them to collect flying insects. It's called what? Sweep net. There's even fishing net that you use to scoop fish from water. The same kind of net you can use to collect flying insects. It's called what? Sweep net. There's also a net you use to collect diatom or algae from water, which is called plankton what? Nets. There are different types of nets for what? Collection of what? Organisms. Now we have putter. Putter is a setup, a device setup so that when you start sucking into them, any insect around, they will suck it in. It's called putter. As you go along, you can see the diagram in our subsequent lectures. Forceps is a device used for picking insects, either picking it out of the stored place or putting it on the. You don't use your hand oftentimes because some of these insects can be stinging insects that have some poisons in them. Then killing bottles. If you get an insect, you don't kill it by matching it on your leg or by squeezing it. If you squeeze it or match your leg, you are destroying the structure that you want to see. So you just simply put it in a bottle and introduce a liquid that will kill them in a relaxed manner. These are called what? Killing bottles. Then hand lens. When you get an insect, basically as a biologist, you use the hand lens to view the structure, to see the basic structures even before you store them. So once you are going for collection, you should have your what? Hand lens. Then scrapers. Scrapers are just, if there are some deaths around the corners of the bottle, you use the scrapers to remove them. I have scissors. You know the use of scissors. Used for what? Cutting. If there's a need to cut, like you want to cut a paper to label the insect, you use what? Scissors. Then methods of insect collection. Methods of what? Insect collection. The general method of insect is hand picking. You see the insect, you pick them. The second one was sweeping. All manner of using nets to collect them is called what? Sweeping. Whether they are the large net or they are the small nets, they are all what? Sweeping. You use them to. Most of the time they use it to collect what? Termites and other insects. That insect preservation what? Methods. What are the methods used in preserving what? Insects. What are the methods used in preserving what? Insects. 1. Killing is done in killing bottles. A killing bottle is just a small bottle where the insect is put. You cover it with a screw tap, then or screw jar, then make it what? Airtight. Airtight is that air will not be entering into it because as long as enough is entering, the insect will never what? Die. And once they are in this bottle, you just introduce a little poison and cover it. The fume of that poison, when they inhale it, the insect will die in a relaxed what? Condition without struggling so that the structure will remain as it is. Now, what are the killing poisons that we have? You just soak the poison in a layer of POP and add a few drops of methyl acetate or tetrachloroethene for their fumes to kill the insect. Their fumes is what will kill the what? Insect in a relaxed condition. Then you can also kill moths and butterflies using oxalic what? Acid. You can kill moths and what? Butterflies using what? Oxalic acid. Butterflies fly in the day. Moths mainly fly in the night. So why this one is nocturnal, that's fly in the night. This one is what? Diurnal, flying in the day. I know most of the flowers you see are pollination is caused by what? Butterflies. Most flowers are pollinated by what? Butterflies as insects. The insects are normally placed in a relaxing tin, sprayed out with a relaxing fluid to avoid what? Stretching. So you place the insect well in a relaxing tin so that they will not stretch and struggle while you kill them. Then setting. You set the insect on wooden board where insect is held in ideal what? Position. So if you want to set this, you place it in a board where it stays the way you want it to stay. If you want the wings to be sprayed, you spray the wings the way they want them to be, so that they will remain like that until the time you want to use them for experiment. Mounting. That board where you spray the insect, you use pins to hold them in the board there so that they stay in that ideal position you want them to stay. Then preservation. What is preservation? Keeping the insects in a fresh what? State, so that when you want to use it, you see look what? Fresh. That is what? Preservation. Remember that you keep your meat in the fridge to preserve them, so that when you want to use them, they will also be what? Fresh. Remember, you preserve your bread in the refrigerator so that when you want to use them, they will remain what? Fresh. So the same thing is what we do to keep the insects in a fresh what? State before their use. Then what are the preservation methods we have? We have different preservation methods that we use. Drying or dehydration. This is just to remove water from the body of insect, because you know the body of every living organism is about 70% what? Water. So if you remove the water, it will not be decaying, it will remain like that. Drying or what? Dehydration. 2, freezing. Yes, you keep it in the refrigerator and freeze it. Freezing. 3, embedding. So introduce some chemical to keep it in that condition so that it will not decay. 4, then use of what? Preservatives. Use of what? Preservatives to keep the insect in a fresh what? State. What are the types of preservatives we have? We have different preservatives for preserving insects. When we go to other higher animals, we also have different preservatives. First of all is you preserve in alcohol. 70% alcohol, you add 30% glycerin into it. Any insect you preserve, you can stay for 50 to 100 years in the same condition. What you only do that every 2 weeks or every 2 months, you change the what? The liquid. But you can keep in the United Nations insects that are preserved since 1960 are still there in the museum. What you only need is to be changing the preservative at intervals. Another preservative you can use is what? Formalin plus magnesium toluene. These two are the two basic materials used in preserving what? Insects and arthropods. Both the alcohol and both the formalin have disadvantages. One, let us look at disadvantages of using alcohol to preserve insects. Now, alcohol is expensive. 1, alcohol is volatile, that means it vaporizes easily. 3, and alcohol can change the color of the organism. These are the 3 what? Disadvantages when you use what? Alcohol. What is the disadvantage when you use formalin? The disadvantage when you use formalin is that formalin dissolves the calcium component of shell. If the animal has shells like snail, the formalin will what? Dissolve the calcium component of the animals. Let us look at materials for collecting animals. Materials for collecting animals. You can collect animals with water trap. Collect animals with what? Water trap. You can also collect animal with what? Pit trap. In the villages where we have a pit trap. See what a pit trap means? You just dig a hole like this on the ground, cover it with paper or cover it with leaf, so that an animal will walk thinking he's walking on the ground. When you sink it, it will sink into your container and you have collected it. That's what a pit trap. It's just like any other trap, but it's called what? Pit trap. So you remember we also said water trap, whereby you put water in a container where an animal is moving, and when it comes and it falls into the what? Water. That is what? Water trap. Then we also have sticking board. Sticking what? Board. In your house, if a rat is disturbing you, you go to the market and ask them to give you a sticking board. This is a board with a lot of gummy materials on it, so that if you place it, if a rat walks on it, it will stick the legs of the rat. The rat can't move. The following morning you come and what? Collect the rat. That's a sticking what? Board. Then you will also have tranquil nets. You can also have what? Nets. Nets. Different forms of what? Nets. We have mentioned nets. We can also have what? Tranquilizers. Tranquilizers. Tranquilizer is a poison which, when you mix it with food and keep it as a bait, when the animal eats the food, that tranquilizer will demobilize the animal, and it will remain quiet as if it's dead. You can even come and collect it. They are poisons. They are called what? Tranquilizers. The same way they kill insects, they can also kill what? Human beings, because they are poisons. Then we have cages. You know the different ways you can use cages to collect what? Animals. We also have what? Baits. In the village, when we used to fish, you put a bait on the hook. Bait is that thing that will attract an animal. Do you understand? If you put a trap for rat in your house, if there's nothing that will attract the rat to the trap, rat will not come there. So anything you put, crayfish or fish, to attract the animal to come to where you put your trap, that is what? A bait. That's what? A bait. And you bait most of the equipment. Then we have generally traps. All those people who hunt grass cutter, guinea fowl in the villages use different types of what? Traps to collect what? Larger animals other than the what? Insects. These are the basic methods for collecting, handling, and preserving what? Of the specimen. In our next lecture, we'll go into other aspects of preservation. If you are thrilled by this lecture, as we say usually, click the subscribe red button so that you can automatically get our subscribed lectures. I still remain your lecturer, Agama. Thank you and God bless you till we come again.